Wake County in North Carolina has approximately 650 children in foster care, but the county has less than 200 licensed homes to accommodate those children. As a result, many are placed in homes outside of the area, often an hour or more away from their families.
This isn't a problem that we should still be talking about in 2018.
That shortage is even more pronounced in eastern Wake County. There, 9 of every 10 foster children are placed in homes outside of the area.
We should be able to take care of our kids. And I'm not in any way saying that the people that are involved in this system have done anything wrong. I'm just saying we as a community holistically, regardless of what got us into this situation, it's our job to fix it.
With so few foster homes available, most of the area's foster children are placed outside of eastern Wake County. This creates a distance barrier between the children and their families, with whom they hope to reunite. The job of bridging that distance between foster families and birth families falls to the area's social workers.
Just for you personally, how difficult is it for you to have to tell someone that you're going to have to go a lot farther away from home than maybe you thought?
Of course, it's very difficult. I mean, these are children. First of all, they have the trauma of being separated from their family. They don't understand, of course, those adult situations and conversations. And then on top of that, you have to tell them not only are they going to an unknown, but it's very far away. In a child's mind, 20 miles could be 100 miles.
Sometimes they have to change schools. They lose connections with family members. They lose friends. And the social workers are then driving all over the county, all over the state. So with that being said, it becomes very emotional for the child to drive an hour back to visit with their parent for a minimum of 1 hour a week, if that's what the court has ordered, to then drive back in that car for an hour, thinking about that visit that they just left their parents.
The distance not only separates children from their families, it can also disrupt other social structures. Things that can make a young person's life feel more normal and comfortable.
Sometimes I've heard, especially older youth, say, I just want to be around my friends. I want to hang out. I want to play basketball with my friends. I was involved with athletics, or someone may be a cheerleader, and they're uprooted, and then they can no longer do that. So that's really important to children, to be able to maintain those social and family connections.
If we're unable to keep children within the community in which they live, and they have to go out of the county, we're removing them not only from family, but they're losing the connection that they have with the school, their friends, recreational activities, and just think about like day-to-day things that we take for granted, like where you go to get your hair done or haircut, or where you go shop, your favorite place to eat. All those connections are lost if we can't help keep that child within that community.
Ethan Lamoureux knows exactly what those children are going through. Lamoureux is on his own now, but as a youth, he spent 7 years in foster care.
Whenever I first went to a new home, it was really tough, especially starting new schools every couple of years or every year, so it just wasn't easy. With me, I have a little brother who I would barely be able to see him, and I know that for me that was really hard. Definitely keeping up with friends was really hard. I didn't always have a cell phone too, so like as soon as I moved, I was like, oh, I'm done with these people, I won't be able to see them anymore. So that's definitely made it tough for me.
A major issue in foster care is a lack of understanding of how the process works.
One of the misconceptions is children go into foster care because the parents don't want them anymore. I've heard that a lot, and it's like, no, you are so off base. It's just the opposite. They want them, but they don't always put them first. And if they can't put them first, then they put them in danger and harm's way.
Children come into care because of issues within the family structure, not due to problems with the child. If a child is experiencing neglect, dependency, or abuse, those might be reasons for them to come into the custody of DSS.
This is always going to be a difficult issue. We're talking about kids. We're talking about kids that maybe need to be taken out of their home. Maybe mom and dad need some additional support. Maybe there's some infrastructure needs that otherwise, if they had, they'd be fine. The goal is always to keep the kid in their home and to make that home a safe, equitable place for them to grow and learn and play and be a part of a community.
Another common misconception comes when potential foster parents simply assume they're not qualified or eligible.
Sometimes people think, well, I have to make a lot of money. We work with families at all different socioeconomic levels. You don't have to be rich. You just have to have love in your heart, have stability, and the willingness to commit to a child.
Some people think that you have to be married, and of course you do not. You don't have to be married. Some people think you have to own your home. You do not have to own a home. You just have to have adequate space for the child. Some people think that, you have to be wealthy or have a lot of money, as long as you have stable income.
Sometimes, whether it's someone who's had some trouble with the law in the past, or someone who may not have a bed in their home, or somebody who may feel that I work this shift, or I've never had children of my own, so I don't know that I can do this.
A single parent is welcome, two-parent households, same-sex couples. We work with empty nesters.
You do have to be a resident of Wake County. You do have to be at least 21 years of age. Some people may think that a criminal record may preclude them from being a foster parent. While we do a criminal background check, there are some offenses that we can work with.
We try and look at all of their strengths and their needs. And if their strengths can outweigh their needs, then that's something we can work with, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent, as we say.
So what we would like to do is talk to those families and see case by case what their situation is, and then let them go through the process. You really wouldn't know until you reach out and contact us to see if you would be an ideal foster parent for a child in Wake County.
We work with families that are just everyday families with everyday issues. You do not have to be perfect to be a foster family. You just have to have an open heart. You have to have stability and willingness to work with children to reunify with their families. So we have a screening process by which we, of course, obtain certain information. We do background checks. We check to make sure that the home is going to be safe and that the family is able to meet the needs of the child.
So we do state, local background checks, fingerprint clearances, healthcare registry checks, a lot of background checks, and then we schedule a home visit, go out to the home, and we help them look at the area and see if there are any safety concerns.
And if those basic requirements are met, we're able to work with the family. We offer training. We have a 30-hour curriculum that will educate and prepare a family to be able to understand the needs of children in care and to be able to work successfully with them, with the birth family, and with the agency.
We talk about everything from what type of behaviors they can expect to see out of a child. And we let them know children, their way of expressing themselves or sharing how they're upset or how they're frustrated is really through their behaviors or what they've been exposed to. And we talk a lot about what can you see and how can you address it, how can you help that child. And for one example, some of our hoarding food or hiding food in the room is a common behavior of children in care. And we let them know, okay, so if their child's hoarding food, don't become overwhelmed with that. Help them know and learn you're always going to have food available for them.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're scared. I mean, we're going to a new home where we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the parents like. Definitely understand that. Don't try to push too much. I know that's one thing I struggled with. Some foster parents were always trying to push for things, and that made me personally uncomfortable. I mean, eventually we will open up to you, but it's different.
Wendell's Diane Sledge has been a foster parent for 3 decades.
It's not easy. It's a commitment. We take it as a life change because it's not just adding another human being to your mix. It's changing your world to accommodate them, accepting them as your own birth children, and and making sure that they get their needs met the same equally as your children do. But also knowing that at some point they can leave.
Diane and her husband Stephen have taken in 105 foster children, most of them with serious medical conditions, with ages ranging from 0 to 18.
People need to understand that foster care is temporary. It will always be temporary. It will never change. That's what it is. And anything that comes after that is bonuses. We have 5 adopted children. Did we plan on adopting? Actually, no, we didn't. Not even the first time. But sometimes things happen, and they happen for a reason.
Sledge cautions prospective foster parents not to lose sight of the ultimate goal of the fostering process, reuniting children with their birth families.
The reward to that is a solid relationship with their child. And we all want that, because if this child's first plan is to go home, don't you want that child to be happy and know his family, rather than live with me for 6 months, a year, year and a half, and then all of a sudden they snatch him and put him with his birth family, and you're crushed, he's crushed. They don't know what to do to maneuver through this process, and nobody wins. So I would much, much rather work with them, no matter what my personal feelings are. And believe me, I'm not joyous every time. There are situations that you know are going to be uncomfortable and difficult. But, you find the inner strength to do it for the one and only person that matters, and that's that kid.
Coordination between foster families, birth families, and social workers becomes far more challenging when the child is placed in care outside of his or her own local community. In Eastern Wake County, that happens 90% of the time.
One of our responsibilities is to make sure that visitation happens when children come into care. They must visit with their families and with their siblings. So sometimes when kids are placed outside of Wake County, it makes that really hard to happen.
That hinders the visitation. That begins to be difficult. If a child is receiving services in Wake County, then of course, there's a delay because we have to set up those services in another county, and those services may not mirror ours exactly. Or the child may not receive, the level of services that they were receiving in Wake County. So it creates a whole lot of barriers.
It's very frustrating because I see the workers, I see the children, I see the families. So I am a mediator between a lot of people in trying to justify and try to accommodate a lot of the schedules, talk about travel time, talk about being effective. Reunifying these children back with their families is crucial for us. It does worry me, especially for the younger children, because they're thinking, I'm going to see my mom, I'm going to see my dad, I'm not with my parents, and you're the one that removed me, or you're the one that placed me here.
The other piece is that our staff, we have mandates. We have to see those children at least once a month. And when they are placed out of county, we still have that same mandate. We still have to see those children face to face once a month. So that's another barrier.
It takes away from us being personal with the children, really involved and engaging. We like for the social workers to get to know the children, the families. Once a child comes into care, we become an offspin of their family. And so we're very engaged with them. We become responsible for their well-being, their education, their recreation, and we are in tune with their every need. So with that being said, travel time plays a big role in how effective you can be.
The solution is both simple and complex. Eastern Wake County needs more foster parents, so the job now is getting the word out to find those parents.
We need more foster parents in this area. It's definitely, we say recruitment is everybody's business, and it takes a village to raise just one child, so we need more people to come forward and help us keep Wake County kids in Wake County.
We want the community to know that we need to co-own this issue. This is not just a DSS issue or Department of Social Services. This is everybody's issue.
It's just a need. It's a need to keep children in Eastern Wake County. It's a need to keep children in our schools out here. It's a need to keep children rooted into their community. These children are in need of families in this area. We need to limit the travel time. We need to, that affects county resources as well. I would like to just encourage the families in Eastern Wake County to consider being a foster parent and incorporating these children into their families, into their homes, into their community, and keeping the children in our community.
It is fundamentally, as the adults in the room, our job to sit down and say, okay, look, we're going to figure out how to fix this, and then we'll move on to the next thing. If there's systematic issues that are creating more foster children than we need, sure, we need to fix that. The first thing we need to do is make sure that every child in Wake County has a safe place to sleep at night.
There's always a challenge. It's always chaotic, but I love being a foster parent. It is my calling, and I love every challenge is different. And like I said, it's not for everyone, but if you really want something that's enriching and that you feel like you're doing your part in society, be a foster parent. Because it is definitely something that you will feel good about yourself.